from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's your national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
The Red Crescent officially confirms the death of more than 550 persons during attacks in Iran. Iran retaliates further. A sharp increase in crude oil and gold prices in the world market due to the Middle Eastern crisis. All flights except to Middle East area in operation. The government requests to assure world peace, says Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa. Fuel distribution as normal today also, being a holiday. Programs of the Dangerous Drug Prevention Week held successfully throughout the island. Sri Lanka Air Force celebrates its 75th anniversary.
Now in your local news, today is Madin Poya Day, in which a number of significant Buddhist events had occurred.
Many religious programs have been organized at the temples and Buddhist centers island-wide to mark the Poya Day. According to the history of Buddhist order, after attaining Buddhahood, Lord Buddha first arrived at his native kingdom of his father, Kapila Vastapura, ruled by King Suddhodana, on a day like today. The Buddha was escorted by 20,000 Buddhist monks in this journey, and King Suddhodana attained stream entrant on the same day. Princess Rahula and Nanda became Buddhist monks, and Lord Buddha delivered the sermon Sanda Kinduru Jatakaya, highlighting the virtues of Queen Yashodhara on a Madin full moon Poya Day. According to the Buddhist history, Lord Buddha had shown Yamamaha Pelahara on the same Poya Day to eliminate pride members of Shakya clan. Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation telecasts the Madin Poya Muni Siripa religious program from the Sri Padasthanaya since this morning this year as well. It has been organized this year for the 43rd occasion. The program includes Buddha Puja, Dhamma sermons and discussions, community treatments and many other programs. They have been organized under the Anusasana of the chief incumbent of Sri Padasthanaya, Venerable Bengamue Sri Dhammadinna Thera. All arrangements have been finalized to live telecast the all-night period chanting from 10 p.m. at the Sri Padasthanaya.
තමන්ගේ දැනුගත්කම පාණ්ඩිත්වය සඳහා ඉතින් ගන්නට අවස්ථාව ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. එහෙමයි. බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාදියාමි. මේ ඔය මුල් කාලේ දන්නේ නෑනේ.
Large crowd of devotees had gathered at the Jayashree Mahabodhi premises in Anuradhapura in line with the Madin full moon Poya Day. The Ruwangali Mahasaya premises were also full of devotees since this morning. Many religious programs have been held at the historic Sri Dalada Maligava in Kandy to mark the Madin full moon Poya Day.
The Middle East has been plunged into a state of severe instability following joint military operations by the United States and Israel targeting 131 districts across Iran. Now, the Red Crescent has officially confirmed that 550 individuals have lost their lives in these strikes. This military escalation, which has begun after the assassination of high-ranking officials, including Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is now showing clear signs of going in the regional war.
The Tasnim news agency reports that an American strike on the city of Khorramabad, located in Iran's midwestern region, resulted in the deaths of 5 Iranian soldiers. Meanwhile, Iran's ambassador to the United States, Reza Najafi, has confirmed that Israeli and American forces also targeted the Natanz nuclear facility, which is considered one of the Iran's most vital and highly secured atomic centers. While this situation remains extremely high risk, the International Atomic Agency states that definitive information regarding the extent of the damage at these sites has not been reported. In a special statement released via his Truth Social account, United States President Donald Trump announced American forces successfully destroyed and sank 9 Iranian naval combat vessels. President Trump characterized this as a retaliatory measure following the deaths of 3 American soldiers in Kuwait during Iranian attacks. The president further warned that the Iranian naval headquarters sustained heavy damage and that any remaining Iranian ships would be sent to the bottom of the sea in the coming days. US Central Command has confirmed that a Jamarian-class flagship was among the vessels destroyed in the Gulf of Oman, while noting that Iranian leaders have expressed a willingness to negotiate and that he has agreed to talk. President Trump emphasized that military strikes will not cease until all strategic objectives are achieved. In southern Iran, the state-linked Tasnim news agency reports that at least 35 people were killed in intense American and Israeli airstrikes targeting the Fars province. Citing provincial authorities, the report indicates that the death toll is expected to rise further due to the high number of injured individuals. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot has declared that France is prepared to intervene to protect Gulf nations and Jordan against ongoing missile and drone attacks from Iran. He emphasized that Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait and Jordan have the full support of France in the face of these threats. Mr. Barrot further stated that France, acting alongside Britain and Germany, will take necessary defensive measures to respond to Iranian attacks based on bilateral security arrangements and the right to collective self-defense under international law. Meanwhile, following an Iranian drone attack on a French naval base located in the United Arab Emirates, reports indicate that the French carrier strike group led by aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle is currently sailing towards the Mediterranean Sea. Officially breaking the ceasefire established in November 2024, the Hezbollah organization in Lebanon has entered into a full-scale war against Israel. In retaliation for the assassination of Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Hezbollah launched a series of precision missile and drone strikes early this morning, targeting a military center located south of Israeli city of Haifa. In response, the Israeli Air Force launched massive strikes on the southern suburbs of the capital Beirut. The Lebanese Minister of Health has confirmed that 31 people have been killed and 149 others injured so far. Among the deceased, 20 are residents of Beirut, and Israeli military has now ordered the residents in more than 50 villages in southern Lebanon to evacuate immediately. In a major shift in foreign policy, the British government has decided to grant the United States military permission to use the British air bases for strikes against Iran. Prime Minister Keir Starmer reached this decision following an Iranian drone attack on the runway of the British airbase in Cyprus. Although it was previously stated that such permission would not be granted, Britain now maintains that these facilities are being provided to the United States for limited security purposes in the light of currently escalated military climate. Under this new decision, the Royal Air Force base near London and the base on Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean will be open to the American fighter jets. Due to the prevailing state of war, the closure of airspace across the Middle East region has resulted in the cancellation of more than 3,400 flights. As a result of this situation, over 300,000 passengers are currently stranded at Middle Eastern airports, prompting Britain and France to launch special operations to evacuate these citizens. Internet connectivity within Iran has come to a complete standstill, leaving the population isolated from the outside world for more than 48 hours. It has not yet been officially confirmed whether this blackout is a deliberate government measure or the result of a large-scale cyber attack. The Kuwaiti Ministry of Defense has officially confirmed that several American fighter jets have crashed within the Kuwaiti border. According to the footage circulating on social media, one aircraft seen spiraling in flames has been identified as a US Air Force F-15 Strike Eagle. All pilots involved in the incident successfully ejected and survived. They are currently in stable condition and receiving hospital treatment. treatment, according to Kuwaiti officials. The US military later on a statement says that Kuwaiti's air defenses mistakenly shot down the F-15 jets. It is noted that Kuwaiti air defense systems were active at the time of the incident, and debris falling near the Mina Al Ahmadi oil refinery complex has reportedly injured 2 employees. Joint investigation with the US Central Command has already been launched. Due to the severe military conflict in the Middle East, global crude oil and gold prices have surged rapidly today. The primary driver behind this price hike is the fear of supply chain disruptions following the joint US-Israeli strikes on Iran and Iran's subsequent retaliatory strikes against regional American bases. This morning, Brent crude oil prices in the international market saw a massive surge of approximately 13%, reaching the $82.37 mark before stabilizing at $79.41 mark. This represents the highest oil prices recorded in the past 14 months. Meanwhile, at the risk of war drives investors towards gold as a safe haven asset, gold prices also rose by approximately 2.5% today. Consequently, the prices of gold has set a new record in the world market, exceeding $5,381 per ounce. Economic analysts warn that if this instability in the Middle East continues, the resulting impact on the global economy could become even more severe.
The Sri Lankan Embassy in the United Arab Emirates has issued a special notification for Sri Lankans residing in the UAE, providing vital information regarding emergency consular assistance and safety guidelines. Through this announcement, the embassy further emphasized the importance for Sri Lankans living in or visiting the country to rely strictly on official channels for obtaining information.
We have about 350,000 Sri Lankans living in the UAE. We are maintaining direct communication with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Defence and Ministry of Interior in the UAE. We have set up emergency hotlines for consular support. We are posting updated advisories on movement, sheltering and airport access. So please check the embassy and consular office Facebook pages and stay informed. If you are visiting, keep in touch with your airline and travel agent. Please rely only on official news. The UAE government is taking all steps to protect its citizens and visitors. The authorities have also stated that the system has been activated at the highest level of readiness with enhanced precautionary measures and round-the-clock monitoring in place.
In a related development, Arun Hemachandra, the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, stated today that the government is maintaining a close and constant watch over the welfare of Sri Lankans across the Middle East. He noted that the situation is being monitored with special attention in light of the ongoing conflict currently affecting the region. Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Employment Arun Hemachandra stated that the government's primary priority at the present was to ensure safety of nearly 1 million Sri Lankan citizens residing overseas. He requests those citizens to strictly follow the official instructions and guidelines issued by the respective governments of the countries in which they are living and urged them to avoid unnecessary gatherings for their own protection. He further advised that if any safety-related issues arose, they should contact the nearest Sri Lankan embassy or Consulate General's office in order to obtain the necessary services from the Sri Lankan government. The Deputy Minister said that the ministry had already established a well-organized work program for this purpose and that relevant contact numbers and information has been disseminated through social media. He also noted that several individuals stranded in the Middle Eastern countries who were unable to return to Sri Lanka are receiving the required services and assistance through the intervention of these diplomatic missions.
In the meantime, Minister Anura Karnatilaka says that all flights except the air destinations of the Middle East have been commenced due to the existing condition in the region.
And during a media briefing held at the Ministry of Ports and Civil Aviation today, he said that 65 departures and 60 arrivals of flights have been cancelled. Most of the air routes have been closed and other routes are being kept open for a limited number of flights. The minister added that all flights to and from Middle East have been cancelled until 12 p.m. today.
කලාපයේ බොහෝ රටවල් ඉරානය, බහරේන්, අබුඩාබි, දුබායි තුළු රටවල් ගණනාවක ගුවන් කලාප
Minister of Ports and Civil Aviation Andrew Tilaka said that flights across several regions in the Middle East, including Iran, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi and Dubai, have been suspended, making travel to those destinations currently impossible. He noted that although a limited number of flights are still operating to those countries such as Saudi Arabia and Oman, final decisions regarding flight operations were being taken by the respective civil aviation authorities and the airlines concerned. The minister further added that all incoming and outgoing flights to the Middle East have been cancelled until 12 midnight, adding that special attention has been given to Sri Lankan passengers who had been scheduled to arrive in the country but were now stranded at various airports. Discussions are ongoing with the relevant authorities and airlines and civil aviation authority to facilitate their early return to Sri Lanka, and he expressed confidence that they would be brought back soon. In addition, arrangements have been made to provide accommodation, food and other essential facilities for passenger groups currently at Katnayake Airport as well as those who had arrived on the first day. According to him, necessary legal procedures including visa arrangements have been completed to allow passengers who are unable to depart Sri Lanka due to the situation and staying in the country for an extended period.
The government has decided to extend visa free of cost for foreign tourists in this country for 14 days. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jatisa, expressing his views in this regard at the Government Information Department at a media briefing today, stated that the request of the government of Sri Lanka is to assure world peace. Dr. Nalinda Jatisa, Minister of Health and Mass Media, stated that the current state of war was affecting world peace, regional stability and the global economy in every possible way. He said that the government has called on all parties involved to immediately halt the conflict and work towards ensuring world peace. The minister further noted that approximately 1 million Sri Lankans were currently residing in the Middle East region and that all Sri Lankan embassies in the region were operating 24 hours a day to serve them. The minister emphasized that the government is committed to providing the necessary protection, facilities and welfare to these citizens, adding that the Consular Affairs Division of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs had introduced dedicated telephone numbers enabling Sri Lankans working in the region to present their problems and seek assistance. Addressing concerns of foreigners and tourists staying in Sri Lanka, the minister said that a practical issue they might face was the expiration of their visa periods.
Now, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says that over 2.9 million litres of petrol and diesel as well have been issued to the filling stations by 9 a.m. today. At the press briefing held at the Government Information Department, Chairman of the corporation, DJ Rajakaruna, explained this matter. Despite the Poya holiday today, the Kolonava Ceylon Petroleum Storage Terminals Limited issued fuel as usual. Fuel transportation train has also started its daily activities as usual. Managing Director of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and the Ceylon Petroleum Storage Terminals Limited, Mayura Kumar said that all distribution centres had been operational both yesterday and today. He noted that although the 2 days were general holidays, all staff members had reported to work and were carrying out their duties as usual. He stated that fuel distribution had taken place yesterday as on a normal working day and that distribution activities had continued from this morning as well. He further assured that fuel was being distributed at all locations across the island and emphasized that there was no reason for the public to fear, adding that fuel distribution was continuing throughout Sri Lanka and would continue in the future. Our correspondent stated that distribution of fuel to filling stations is being carried out as usual. Chairman of the CPC, DJ Rajakaruna, said that by 9:44 a.m. today, the corporation had released approximately 2.3 million litres of diesel and 2.9 million litres of petrol to the market. He emphasized that there was a sufficient supply of fuel in the country and assured that the public were absolutely not in any need for panic buying. However, he noted that some intermediary traders were remaining in fuel queues to stockpile fuel, which had created difficulties for the general public in obtaining supplies. Rajakaruna further said that throughout the past year, fuel had been sourced from India, Singapore, Korea and Malaysia, and that all relevant statistical records were available. During the briefing, a journalist raised concerns over whether some fuel stations, many of which had reportedly been granting in the past based on political connections, might be refraining from placing fuel orders under the current circumstances. Responding to the query, the chairman said that there was no such possibility as the corporation had introduced a mandatory mobile application system. He explained that fuel station owners were required to enter their available fuel stocks to the application every morning. enabling the corporation to monitor supply levels in real time. He added that area managers and area supervisors had been assigned key performance indicators to ensure proper oversight and take necessary actions when required. Furthermore, he said board approval had been granted to our regulate commissions in the future.
Public awareness programs on the Narcotic Prevention Week have been organised island-wide. This week is effective until the 7th of this month under a Nation United national operation. A public awareness campaign was carried out in Kandy City yesterday under the organising of National Dangerous Drugs Control Board. Police and Army also joined the programme. They enlightened the public transport services, three-wheel drivers, business places and people in the Kandy City. They also distributed awareness leaflets and pasted stickers at public places. Police headquarters in Mathura has also organised an awareness programme for the people in the town. Posters were also stuck at many places in the town. Wadua Police Station conducted an awareness programme for three-wheeler drivers and the general public. Advisory stickers were also pasted on three-wheelers.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amritsuri informs that grants required for the development of infrastructural facilities of provincial schools have been provided and 2 forward requests in order to fulfill shortcomings in schools. Now, she made this observation at Vallavaya yesterday, joining a cordial discussion with Muslim ladies. The Prime Minister, who visited Rajakiya Pandita Venerable Galtembatte Nandaratna Nayakathera, Chief Sanganayaka of Uvavellasa and Chief Incumbent of the Udagannava Rajamahaviharaya, also clarified the present situation of the new educational reforms program. She also stated that steps will be taken to develop 50 vocational education centres consisting modern curriculums covering all 25 districts by providing a proper acceptance to vocational education. Deputy Minister R.M. Jayawardena and a group of others also joined the occasion.
Sri Lanka has strengthened its bilateral engagement with Romania with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding on Labour Cooperation. The agreement was signed following talks with Petra Florin Manol, Minister of Labour, Family, Youth and Social Solidarity of Romania, aimed at enhancing collaboration in the labour sector between Sri Lanka and Romania. Sri Lanka and Romania have signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Labour Cooperation following discussions with Romanian Labour Minister Petra Florin Manol, marking a step forward in strengthening bilateral ties in the employment sector. Sri Lanka Air Force is commemorating its 75th proud anniversary today.
The commemorative function in this regard was held at the Sri Lanka Air Force camp at Katunayaka under the guidance of Air Force Chief Air Marshal Bandhu Edirisinghe. The inception of the history of Sri Lanka Air Force goes back to the 2nd of March 1951, with protecting Sri Lankan airspace as its responsibility with the establishment of the Royal Ceylon Air Force. After Sri Lanka becoming a republic on the 22nd of May 1972, the Royal Ceylon Air Force was concerted to Sri Lanka Air Force. Sri Lanka Air Force has been able to safeguard the Sri Lankan airspace under the motto Guardians of the Skies and fulfill its mission for 75 years to their motherland. While safeguarding the Sri Lanka airspace as the permanent protector of it, Sri Lanka Air Force safeguarding the airspace also made a unique contribution in carrying out rescue operations and welfare activities for the people during natural calamities faced by the country. At the same time, the Air Force is dedicated to fulfilling its duties as a disciplined and proud force, providing active contribution for peacekeeping duties with new technological know-how and professional maturity, as well as the humanitarian aspects of it. A commemorative stamp was also issued and 43 male and female cadet officers were commissioned parallel to the function. 2 of the commissioned officers were awarded with the official flight emblems by Commander of the Air Force.
Mainly dry weather will prevail over most parts of the island today, according to the Meteorological Department. However, misty conditions can be expected in the parts of western Sabaragamua's central, southern, northwestern and north central provinces as well as in the Vavuniya district during the early hours of the morning. Well, that's it on local stories. We'll be back with news overseas. Welcome back. We move on to news overseas now. India and Canada have agreed to fast-track a long-awaited free trade agreement, setting an ambitious target to conclude negotiations by the end of this year.
The announcement came during Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's official visit to New Delhi, where he held bilateral talks with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, the two sides also sealed a multi-billion-dollar uranium supply deal, marking a significant step in rebuilding ties after years of diplomatic tensions. India and Canada say they are entering a new phase in their relationship with plans to expand trade, energy cooperation and defense ties. Speaking after talks in New Delhi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said both countries would work towards finalizing a comprehensive economic partnership agreement expected to raise bilateral trade to $50 billion by 2030, up from nearly $9 billion in the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Prime Minister Mark Carney said the agreement would not simply renew relations but expand a valued partnership with greater ambition and focus. Officials from both sides confirmed that they are aiming to conclude the trade pact before the end of 2026. In a major development, the two countries also agreed on a $2.6 billion uranium supply deal. India's government and Canadian uranium producer Cameco signed the agreement to support India's civil nuclear energy program. News from the T20 World Cup, and it's India qualifying for the semi-finals of the ICC T20 World Cup cricket tournament by defeating the West Indies in their Super 8 round match played yesterday and by 5 wickets.
Accordingly, India, South Africa, England and New Zealand have qualified for the semi-finals. The match between India and West Indies was played in Kolkata yesterday. Winning the toss, India elected to field first. Accordingly, West Indies scored 195 runs for 4 wickets in their 20 overs. Roston Chase scored 40 runs, while Jason Holder scored 37 not out. In bowling, Jasprit Bumrah claimed 2 wickets. In reply, India passed the victory target with a loss of 5 wickets in 19.2 overs. In a colourful display of batting, Sanju Samson scored 97 runs not out in 50 balls with 12 fours and 4 sixes. Tilak Varma scored 27 runs. In bowling, Jason Holder and Shamar Joseph claimed 2 wickets each. India has qualified for semi-finals from the Group 1 of Super 8 round. India has qualified for the semi-finals for 6 occasions so far. Accordingly, India will play against England on the 5th of this month for the second semi-final match. The first semi-final match will be played on the 4th of this month between New Zealand and South Africa.
Samson wants to finish it off.
And that was a look at your news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Parira Shugri with Sharifa Tahir. Wish you a pleasant evening and a great week ahead.
Good night.